Here's a paradox that will break your brain. The most powerful warriors in history spent most of their time doing boring, tiny things. Not fighting. Not strategizing grand battles. They were folding their robes. Arranging their swords. Polishing their armor. Why? Because Sun Tzu knew something you don't. Character isn't forged in crisis, it's built in the quiet moments you ignore. Think about it. You want to be disciplined, but you skip your morning stretch. You want to be focused, but you check your phone during meals. You want to be strong, but you take the elevator for one flight. These aren't small failures. They are cracks in your foundation. The I Ching calls this the power of the small. The hexagram for the taming power of the small shows that tiny, consistent actions shape destiny. Sun Tzu would say the same: a victorious army wins its victories before seeking battle. That before is everything. It's the preparation you do when no one's watching. Here's the truth: every time you perform a small ritual, making your bed, lighting a candle, taking 3 deep breaths, you're training your brain to pay attention. You're telling the universe, I am in control. Most people think character is about big moral choices. It's not. It's about the 1,000 unnoticed decisions you make daily. And if you're ignoring these, you're losing the war before it starts. Let me give you a concrete example. Consider the ancient Spartan warriors. They were known for their discipline, but their training wasn't just about combat. They spent hours each day on simple tasks, polishing their shields, arranging their spears, and practicing precise formations. These small acts built a collective mindset that made them nearly unbeatable in battle. Similarly, in modern times, think of a concert pianist. They don't just play complex pieces, they practice scales and finger exercises for hours. Each repetition, each tiny movement, builds the neural pathways that allow them to perform flawlessly under pressure. The same principle applies to you. When you fold your clothes with care, you're not just organizing your closet, you're training your brain to value order and precision. When you pause to take a deep breath before responding to a stressful email, you're building emotional control. These micro-rituals are like the roots of a tree. They may be invisible, but they anchor you against the storms of life. The I Ching hexagram, the taming power of the small, specifically advises, the small can tame the great through gentle, persistent action. Think of water wearing down stone. It doesn't happen overnight, but over time, the stone is shaped. Why does this matter so much? Because attention is the currency of your life. You spend it every second, and most people are broke. They're giving away their attention to notifications, to drama, to things that don't matter. And then they wonder why they feel empty. The Art of War says, if you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. But here's the twist, your biggest enemy is your own scattered mind. And the only way to know yourself is to watch yourself in the small moments. Ever noticed how you act when you're stuck in traffic? When someone cuts in line? When you drop your keys? That's your real character. Not the noble version you post on Instagram. The I Ching teaches that the superior person is one who is careful in small matters. Why? Because small matters reveal the pattern of your soul. If you're impatient with a slow internet connection, you'll be impatient with slow progress in life. If you skip your nightly gratitude journal, you'll skip the hard work of self-reflection. Here's the mind-blowing part, you can't change your character by willpower alone. You have to change your rituals. Your brain is a creature of habit. It follows the paths you carve. And every tiny ritual, even something as simple as saying, thank you before a meal, is a groove in your mind. Over time, that groove becomes a canyon. And that canyon becomes your character. So when you neglect the small, you're not just being lazy. You're actively building a weak foundation for your life. And the world will test that foundation eventually. Let me illustrate with a story. There's a famous experiment called the marshmallow test, where children were given a choice: eat one marshmallow now, or wait and get two later. The children who waited, who practiced self-control in that small moment, went on to have better life outcomes years later. That's the power of attention in a micro-moment. Similarly, consider the Japanese concept of kaizen, continuous improvement through small, incremental changes. Toyota used this philosophy to revolutionize manufacturing. They didn't overhaul their entire system overnight, they made tiny adjustments every day. The result? A global empire built on small rituals. In your own life, think about your morning routine. If you wake up and immediately check your phone, you're giving away your attention to external demands. Instead, if you spend the first 5 minutes in silence, or stretching, or writing down your goals, you're reclaiming that attention. You're telling your brain, I am in charge. The I Ching hexagram, the well, says, the well is deep, but the rope is short. This means that even if you have great potential, the deep well, you need the right tools, the rope, to access it. Your rituals are that rope. They bridge the gap between your potential and your reality. So, start small. Now, let's go to the source. Sun Tzu writes something shocking in Chapter 7 of The Art of War: the control of a large force is the same principle as the control of a few men, it is merely a question of dividing up their numbers. Wait, what? Controlling an army of 100,000 is the same as controlling 10 men. How? By creating small, repeatable units. By standardizing rituals. Sun Tzu understood that a massive army only works if every soldier knows his exact role in every tiny moment. The I Ching echoes this: the small man thinks that small acts of goodness are of no benefit, and does not do them. But the superior person? They do them. Because they know that small acts accumulate into a force of nature. Here's the shocking reveal: the most powerful tool for building character isn't a grand philosophy. It's a simple list of micro-rituals. Sun Tzu's army didn't win because of brilliant tactics alone. They won because every soldier performed the same morning ritual: sharpening their blade, checking their gear, reciting their oath. This created a unified mind. A collective attention. And in battle, that attention was lethal. You can do the same. Create a morning battle ritual. Make your bed. Do 10 push-ups. Write one intention for the day. That's it. 3 tiny acts. But do them every single day for a month, and watch what happens. Your brain starts to see itself as disciplined. Your attention starts to sharpen. You become the kind of person who follows through. The I Ching says, perseverance brings good fortune. Not grand gestures. Perseverance in the small. That's the secret the ancient masters knew and modern gurus forgot. Let me give you a historical example. The Roman legions were the most disciplined military force of their time. Their training included daily drills in formation, weapon handling, and camp construction. Each soldier knew his exact position and role. When they marched, they did so in perfect unison. This was not just for show, it built a collective consciousness that made them nearly invincible. Similarly, in medieval Japan, samurai practiced kata, precise, repetitive movements in swordsmanship. These were not just exercises, they were rituals that trained the mind to be calm and focused under threat. The same principle applies to you. When you create a morning ritual, you're not just checking off tasks. You're programming your mind for success. I recall a story about a famous CEO who starts each day by making his bed. He says it gives him a sense of accomplishment and sets the tone for the day. That's Sun Tzu's principle in action: control the small, and the large will follow. Let's break down the meaning. Why do small rituals work? Because they hack your brain's reward system. Every time you complete a tiny ritual, you get a microdose of dopamine. It's a small victory. And that victory builds momentum. Sun Tzu called this strategic advantage created by positioning. When you position yourself to win small battles, you create momentum that carries you into bigger ones. Think of it like this: a single drop of water does nothing. But thousands of drops, falling in the same place, carve canyons. Your rituals are those drops. The I Ching hexagram, the well, teaches that a well must be constantly tended. If you don't clean it, it becomes muddy. If you don't draw from it, the water stagnates. Your character is that well. The small rituals are the cleaning and drawing. They keep your spirit fresh and your mind clear. Here's the practical breakdown: choose 3 micro-rituals for your day. 1 in the morning, 1 at midday, 1 in the evening. Morning, light a candle and set an intention. Midday, take 60 seconds to breathe before eating. Evening, write down one thing you learned. That's it. But you must do them with full attention. No multitasking. No rushing. The ritual is worthless if you're thinking about your to-do list. Sun Tzu said, "The general who advances without coveting fame and retreats without fearing disgrace, whose only thought is to protect his country, is the jewel of the kingdom." Apply that to yourself. Advance in your ritual without coveting the result. Just do it. The character builds itself. Most people fail because they want the outcome without the process. They want the mountain without climbing the steps. But the steps are the mountain. And every step is a ritual. Let me give you a real-world example from sports. Legendary basketball player Michael Jordan was known for his intense practice routines. He would spend hours on basic drills, free throws, footwork, and defensive slides. These were not glamorous, but they built the muscle memory that made him unstoppable in games. Similarly, in the world of art, Leonardo da Vinci would spend hours observing and sketching simple objects like flowers or rocks. He believed that mastery came from understanding the small details. The I Ching hexagram, the taming power of the small, says, "The small can tame the great." This is a profound truth. By focusing on small, consistent actions, you can tame the chaos of your life. Consider the practice of mindful eating. Instead of rushing through a meal, take a moment to appreciate the colors, textures, and flavors. Real-world examples? Look at the Japanese tea ceremony. It's a ritual that takes years to master. Every movement, how you hold the cup, how you whisk the matcha, how you bow, is deliberate. The result? A state of mind called Ishigo Ichi, one encounter, one moment. Complete presence. Samurai warriors practiced this. They knew that a calm, focused mind in the tea room translated to a calm, focused mind on the battlefield. Sun Tzu would approve. He said, "The skillful fighter puts himself into a position which makes defeat impossible." The tea ceremony is that position. It trains the mind to be unshakable. Another example, the modern Navy SEALs. Their basic training includes making your bed as a core lesson. Why? Because if you can't do that small task perfectly, you can't be trusted with a mission. Admiral William McRaven said, "If you make your bed every morning, you will have accomplished the first task of the day. It will give you a small sense of pride, and it will encourage you to do another task, and another, and another." That's Sun Tzu in action. The I Ching says, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. But most people forget the second part, and each step must be taken with care. Look at your own life. Where are you cutting corners? Where are you rushing through the small stuff? That's where your character is leaking. The most successful people, athletes, artists, CEOs, all have rituals. They don't leave their attention to chance. They script it. You can too. Start today. Pick one tiny ritual. Do it for 7 days. See how it changes your perception of yourself. You'll feel stronger, more centered, more in control. That's not magic. That's ancient strategy. Let me share another example, the practice of Shinrin-yoku or forest bathing in Japan. It's simply walking slowly in nature, paying attention to the sights, sounds, and smells. This small ritual has been scientifically proven to reduce stress and improve focus. It's not about the walk, it's about the attention you bring to it. Similarly, consider the tradition of saying grace before meals. This simple act of gratitude shifts your mindset from scarcity to abundance. It's a small ritual that can transform your entire day. In the corporate world, many successful leaders have morning routines that include meditation, journaling, or exercise. They don't leave their mornings to chance. They deliberately script them to set the tone for the day. Here's your takeaway: the art of attention is the art of war. And the war is fought in the small moments. Sun Tzu and the I Ching agree on one thing: character is not a gift. It's a construction. And you are the architect. Every ritual you perform is a brick. Every moment of attention is a beam. Build wisely. Most people will ignore this. They'll scroll past this video and go back to their scattered lives. But you? You're different. You saw the paradox. You felt the truth. Now it's time to act. Start with one ritual tonight. Before you sleep, take 3 deep breaths and think of one thing you're grateful for. That's it. Do it for a week. Then add another. Before you know it, you'll have built a fortress of character that no external chaos can breach. The I Ching says, the superior person is not a vessel that is filled once and for all. You are always being filled. Every day. Every ritual. Every moment of attention. So choose what fills you. Choose wisely. And remember Sun Tzu's final lesson: the supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. Your enemy is distraction. Your weapon is attention. Your victory is a life of purpose. Now go build it. One small ritual at a time. Let me leave you with a final story. There is a legend about a young student who asked his master, "How can I achieve enlightenment?" The master replied, "When you eat, eat. When you walk, walk. When you sleep, sleep." The student was confused. "But that's what everyone does," he said. The master smiled. "No. Most people eat but think of 100 other things. They walk but are lost in thought. They sleep but their minds are restless. To be fully present in each small action is the highest discipline. That is the essence of the art of attention. It's not about doing more, it's about being fully present in what you do." So, as you finish this video, take a moment. Breathe. Notice the space around you.